with inevitable changes coming with pressure to turn things around after the last 2 months which saw the company in freefall in almost every aspect of business. The official announcement was made to open Nitro on March 27 that Eric Bischoff has returned to WCW for the first time since being removed as the company president in September, coming back in a different role as mostly the head supervisor of the on-screen product as opposed to being in control of the company creatively and financially as he did in his original run from '93 to '99, while moments after announcing the return of Eric, the announcers made the second major announcement that Brad Siegel approached Vince Russo to return alongside Bischoff to revamp the company creatively and work together for the first time, hyping Russo's decision throughout the first hour before announcing that he agreed to return to start massive hype for the new regime, building it as 2 out of the 3 people alongside Vince McMahon who were most responsible for the industry's biggest ever boom period joining forces to turn the company around, with Bischoff taking WCW as the constantly struggling company in the red and turning it into the most successful company in business history just 3 years later, while Russo oversaw the biggest creative turnaround in WWF history that saw him revolutionizing wrestling television and increasing viewership over 170% in less than 2 years, setting the stage for their debut show on April 10 with both Nitro and Thunder set to be turned into highlight shows in preparation for one of the most hyped Nitro shows in history in 2 weeks. Nitro on its 4th spring break special, perhaps with curiosity of the Bischoff return announcement and Russo decision hype, saw its first hour peaking with a 3.6 rating, the highest rated quarter during the unopposed hour in 2 months, with the first hour seeing Dallas Page making his TV return to open the show to hype the debut of the Ready to Rumble movie, and Hulk Hogan coming out for a promo to respond to a $500,000 bounty put on him by Seed throughout the night after being notified by Vampiro when arriving, setting up Wall taking the challenge standing on a roof of a building to book Hogan vs. Wall for the main event, with the first head-to-head quarter seeing a Falls Count Anywhere tag match of Ric Flair and Lex Luger against Sting and Vampiro going 6 minutes, ending up in a wild Sting vs. Luger brawl all the way to the beach with Sting going over after a piledriver in the water, drawing what ended up the highest rated opposed segment of the night, 2.4 rating. The final Raw before what is targeted to be the biggest money event in wrestling history, with the company besides the first priority of breaking the biggest pay-per-view of all-time record set at last year's WrestleMania 15, setting up for a major weekend before the show in addition to massive additional pay-per-view revenue from the all-day-long special set to air throughout the day on Sunday, recapping the first 15 WrestleMania events, with Linda McMahon after getting slapped by Stephanie on SmackDown opening Raw to call her out, followed by Vince and the rest of the McMahons to open Raw with its highest quarter in a month, 6.1 rating. After holding steady with the first quarter's Flair-Luger-Sting Vampiro tag match, Nitro dropped below the 2 rating range to be almost quadrupled by Raw with the continuation of its opening segment, featuring a short Meng vs. La Parka match along with 2 commercial breaks and a video package for the Ready to Rumble movie, while Raw picked up big in the second quarter, jumping over 1 million viewers with Shane coming out to cut a promo on Stephanie after the Linda slap before agreeing with Hunter telling Vince that it's time for him to move on and let the new regime take over, attacking him from behind to bring out Foley and Show, followed by Rock running into a huge reaction, ending with Shane, Show and Hunter laying them out with the WrestleMania headliners brawl jumping to a 6.9 rating, Raw's highest rated opposed quarter in over 2 months. with one of the biggest draw audiences in history expected next week for the follow-up of WrestleMania. The decision was made by WCW to cancel the two scheduled Nitro and Thunder TV shows on April 3rd and 4th, with record lows for both almost guaranteed now with highlight programs, giving the new Bischoff and Russo regime a fresh start with 2 weeks of build-up to plan one of the most loaded Nitro broadcasts in history for the start of the new era, including big star power set to return on the night, with the announcers building up a potential Bischoff vs. Russo feud, with the idea of both having different philosophies, with Eric in favor of building around the established stars and Russo pushing the younger wrestlers, along with the shoot backstory between them that Russo's contribution in turning the WWF around was one of the reasons for Eric being removed from his position, along with Russo routinely taking shots at Eric over the years when writing articles for the WWF and Draw magazines. Nitro rebounded over 400,000 viewers back into the 2 rating range, having Terry Funk vs. Hugh Morris and a Steiner and Jarrett vs. Hennigan Bagwell tag match going 4 minutes in the final quarter, with the company throughout the night having several wrestlers being questioned on their opinion of the upcoming Bischoff and Russo regime, while Raw closed its first hour with a 6.5 rating, having 2 matches in the quarter, with Rikishi vs. Road Dogg and Saturn and Malenko against the Hardys crossing over the top of the hour, while in the middle having a Rock backstage promo saying that he doesn't care about the McMahon family drama and the show is not over for him tonight, calling out anyone from Hunter Show Shane or any other McMahon in the main event. Nitro went 7 minutes in the overrun, with the Hogan vs. Wall main event entrances taking place already past 10 p.m., going 5 minutes to gain over 300,000 viewers to a 2.3 rating, ending up with Vampiro running in after Hogan put him over big as a future star throughout the night, closing the Sullivan era with another near-record low 2.6 rating, with everything done in the past 2 months on and off-screen set to end with the start of the new direction in 2 weeks, with Raw against the Hogan Wall match crossing over 10 p.m. with Shane and Show agreeing for a handicap match against Rock, with Vince later making it a tag match, while picking up to a 6.6 rating, including 8 minutes unopposed for a Kurt Angle vs. Kane match going 4 minutes. After further elevating his status last Saturday by delivering on the 2 key aspects with strong performance and a season record viewership, Rock was on a media tour throughout the week hyping the WrestleMania pay-per-view, ending on The Tonight Show on Friday promoting the 4-way match while talking about not getting complacent despite reaching a popularity peak, commenting about comparisons with Hogan, saying that his first priority is keeping his character creative and innovative and change when the time is right. Meanwhile, another part of the main event Sunday, and Mick Foley found himself in perhaps the most uncomfortable position of his career, as after taking several shots at all the wrestlers who, in his words, deceived the audience by faking retirement and coming back in weeks, Foley, who took pride in his word to the audience, was not only forced to go back on it, but in perhaps the highest profile retirement backtracking in history, saying that it may take time for people to forgive him, but not as long as it would take him to forgive himself if he didn't do it with him set for the biggest payday of his career. Raw's WrestleMania Go Home segment saw Rock and McMahon teaming up for the first time in the main event against Show and Shane in a tag match going 11 minutes, with constant interferences from the two special referees in Foley and Hunter to end with Rock going over Shane for the finish, jumping over 1.1 million viewers to a peak 7.6 rating, the highest rated segment on Raw in almost 2 months, with strong momentum heading to Sunday in what is targeted to be a record-breaking night for the company, closing the show with the final cell with JR hyping the moment the WrestleMania 2000 pay-per-view is built around, with Rock on a run as hot as anything ever seen in history, winning the WWF title for the first time as a babyface after a year-long title chase in 6 days.